Hello, Cancer. Welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Cancer, as we said, right? And you'll have to pardon my voice. I've been pretty dang sick these last couple of days, so I'm actually probably at the peak of sickness right now, but I really wanted to read. So I came down to the studio so I could do some readings. And tonight, for you, Cancer, you have the 10 of Cups. Yeah, this is a nice card. It is about things being fulfilled, right? Coming to that place where you have achieved some of the things that really matter to you, right? You're emotionally, psychically interwoven, right? With how you spend your time, your goals, your dreams, and the efforts that go along to achieve those. Now, when we have the 10 of Cups, this is, as I said, a feeling of things being accomplished. Now, on the other side of it, this is where we can become stagnant. We can become disillusioned. And why disillusioned? Well, because sometimes we work ourselves to the bone, right? We work for years even to achieve something, to obtain something, to get to whatever the point is, and you get there and you realize that it doesn't really mean that much to you, or it's not what you thought it was gonna be, or it's just not very fulfilling, right? So there is this kind of a little bit of edge to this card. It's not just all like, yay, you finished the marathon. No, it's tied into the complexities of being, right? And as human beings, we are quite complex. So I'm gonna go ahead. I really gotta try not to laugh too much because my goodness, I cannot get to coughing. Whenever I have, the cough is just the worst part once it gets going. So let's go ahead. We're gonna take a look here, and I want to say thank you so much for deciding to click on this reading. It means a lot to me to be able to spend this time with you. And I want to point out here, we have what looks like the name Kim, K-I-M, right there, Kim. So maybe Kimberly, maybe the name Kim, without the Kimberly, the whole long name, can be both masculine or feminine, this name. And if you know a Kimberly or a Kim, or maybe these letters are, part of the initials. I was like, what is the word? The initials. And I swear, I didn't take any NyQuil or anything. I was thinking about it, but I'm like, nah, I gotta do these. I gotta be here for these readings. Okay, let's see. So we also have, it looks like the wolf on the prowl. Okay, now we also have the word that looks like it says F-R-O-M, from. I know that's like a TV show that people are really into. Actually, I think my husband is watching it. Shout out to my husband over at Dove and Serpent Tarot. The rare moment that he is alone and gets to watch TV. I think I've seen that on the thing. But it might be, something else. Unless you're watching that show, then it's like, okay, you better go finish it up. But we do have the wolf. So I feel, and it looks like it is on the prowl, like head kind of down, right? And I feel like there's almost a feeling of, well, you know how like when somebody comes up, right? And they start making money. And it's like an old cliche. Money changes people. Power changes people. The ability to, do what you want to do. Go where you want to go. Be with who you want to be with. All these things, right? Without limitation, or at least with less limitation. This will change somebody, right? And so I feel like as you have had these moments in life where you're achieving things that are a big deal for you, of course, right? I feel like it is often accompanied with almost kind of a paranoia or fear that people are attracted to you because of, well, your success and whatever it is. I don't care if you are like the most successful Pokemon Go player in your area, in your neighborhood, or, if you're making $1 million a year or whatever. I feel like it's an underlying thing that you really just don't have a lot of trust for people, especially people you don't know. Okay? Now, the other part of it is you are perceptive. I mean, it's not just like this is some, completely illogical response. I do feel like you have somebody who is lurking around. And I do wonder if this is actually maybe somebody that you do know very well. I'm wondering if this is even like a family member. Because I don't feel like you are completely unaware of this person's intentions. And I think that you get along just fine, but you know that they will, they'll sell you out real quick. I was just thinking of this old meme, and it's like a seagull or whatever, and it's like something like I'll sell you out for a single Fritos or whatever chip, a single French fry. And I think it's almost kind of, this is the person that's a real opportunist. They don't have a lot of loyalty. And yet, for whatever reason, probably because they're family or a good friend or, whatever, you have stayed loyal to them, right? Now, I don't know that you're super involved with this person, but I think this is really surrounded by money stuff. And I do feel like you have to prepare yourself, because this isn't going to be a straightforward ask for money. But I do feel like this is kind of the thing where they're finding a way to, well, get some money out of you, of course. I don't know that it's like a stealing thing so much as like they're trying to sell you on something that's obviously, not going to work out in your favor, right? And so, I think it's just kind of a beware here, not necessarily that anything will transpire, but just to keep your guard up. Keep an eye on this person. Okay. Now we have two people beneath the moon. And it almost kind of feels like, it almost kind of feels like a little bit of a falling out at some point. I really get this energy that you're going through this period of your life where you're very much in like a hermit mode. I don't think it's really like you're big on the cutoff, like you just want everybody out of your life forever. But I think that you've really turned into yourself. And when you are pressed by those who are around you or love you, it might be your spouse, it might be your friend, it might be your mom, whoever. I feel like there are moments where you are quite reactionary. maybe a little bit of an explosive temper. Although, you know, I'm not saying like there's violence or anything like that, but I do think that you get to a point where you get short-tempered, and when they keep bugging you, right? Like that, are you okay? What's going on with you? Why haven't you called me? Are you okay? Are you okay? You know, and you just finally, or, you know, kind of lose it a little bit. I don't think that this is a you know, like a dire situation, because, you know, if this is somebody who has known you for most of your life, for your whole life, they know what you're like. We all know what you Cancers are like. And, you know, most of us love you for it. I do. I have a lot of admiration for the ability to be alone, right? And the ability to really stick to, you know, what you know is best for you. You're not going to endure too much if you are not feeling it. And that's another thing I like about Cancers, is you do what you got to do, you know, to make yourself be at ease, or at least be in a position where you can continue to build in your life, right? And work on that interior stuff, the human development. Now, the better you do, the more alone you are. And that's, I feel like that's the big thing here. You've really gone into yourself a lot. And we have a repeating 29. I wonder, there's something about a tile, maybe a broken tile, or maybe you're retiling, or you're thinking about it, you've been looking at them, maybe you went somewhere and saw a beautiful tile work, or something that reminds you of, you know, home or your childhood. But we do have the word tile up here. And over here we have a person who is looking up at a square that is being filled in right here. Okay, so we also have the person, and you can see where the head is right here. There's also the bird sitting right here. And so I'm looking at this, and we have another person here. We have what looks like a dog or a cat. We have another bird over here. And we have maybe a pond. We have a dagger. And we have a bow tie. So to me, it feels like you're going through a very marked evolution. A shifting, a transmutation, very noticeable, right? And I'm sure you've heard recently in the last year or so, people telling you, you seem so different. Now, maybe you look different, maybe, you know, the way that you talk is different, the things you talk about, your disposition, whatever. But I really feel like you're just so very focused on really getting your foundational stuff super solid, because I think you've been there before. This isn't like the first time you're out in the world and you're like getting your foundation ready and you're gonna, you know, build up this new adult life that you have. No, I feel like this is like, you know, your second, third, fourth time rebuilding your life. Now, I'm not saying that is a bad thing. I feel like for Cancers, you all are, like I said, very brave, and you go where you need to for what you need. And so I feel like for this one, this is something that you decided to do because you knew it was time. And so maybe, yeah, you have gone through a breakup, or you like a divorce, or maybe it's a you know, moving jobs or moving to a new place or whatever. But I feel like you're just super focused on getting things set up in your life the way that you want them to. Now, we have a Taurus person who is involved in some way, and it feels like there is a lot of, it's almost kind of a flirtation, but you quickly hit the wall because this is a corrosive dynamic between the two of you. Just so very different, having very different experiences of life. And ultimately, I think that it's just, you know, I imagine it's kind of like when you're older, and let me just say, I do not judge age gap relationships or anything like that. In fact, I've always had older, you know, people who I've dated or married or whatever. They've always been older. Not super older, but you know, whatever. But I imagine it is. It feels similar where it's kind of like, yeah, there are a lot of reasons to be attracted to each other. It feels new, it feels fresh, especially if you're the older person and you've been in a rut, or, you know, maybe you're getting out of a marriage with somebody who is older as well, and you just both kind of lost your zest for life together. And then you meet somebody, they're young, they're vibrant, they're exciting, and that makes you feel good and alive. But once you get in there in the relationship, it's like you're almost raising a kid, right? You're on totally different planets, maybe. I don't know. I was going to say levels, but it's not really levels so much as you just live differently. You have different wants and needs. And I feel like for you with this person, there's that intense flirtation, but at the same time, you know that this is a person that they won't let you live as you want to live, right? And that's the big thing with Cancers is you have very limited tolerance for people trying to get into your life and micromanage, or even just kind of sway you in different ways, or try to kind of affect your feelings or thinking or whatever in an intentional way. And so I see this as being something that, you know, just is not for you necessarily, right? Now, we also have the dagger and we have the pond. So I do feel like there is a need for a lot of self-reflection. And I do feel like if you decide to continue this friendship, relationship with this Taurus person, it will lead to treachery. I do feel like they will move against you. And for whatever reason, I feel like they're gathering data about you. What does that mean, right? Saving phone call, recording phone calls, saving screenshots, taking pictures of you. Maybe like when you don't know it, you're like asleep in bed next to them, they're taking pictures. I mean, the weird behavior. And not like, listen, there are reasons why sometimes you need to document things, right? Especially if it's like you're getting a divorce, or there's been some kind of abuse or cheating, or, whatever. There's plenty of reasons why that would happen. But I feel like for this situation, this is just like, this is a person that wants to, it feels like control you, own you, be the one to like really oversee everything about you. And I feel like, this is really what is pushing you into this feeling of really going into yourself, wanting to be in that hermit mode. Now, it is a natural state for you, but I feel like if somebody kind of comes into your life in this disposition, it accelerates your kind of going out into the wilderness, right? And so, you know, I feel like this is what will be beneficial to you, is indulging in that need to be more solitary. And, you know, I was watching a thing, no, I can't think of who it was. Von Franz, I think. She was talking about Jung. Of course, she's a disciple and also a wonderful psychotherapist. Interesting, has amazing books. Go check out some of her books. And anyway, she was talking about how sometimes we need to be lonely. Sometimes we need to lean into being alone, not just alone, being lonely. Because when you are in isolation, when you decide to kind of it could be to an extreme, right? To limit access to yourself and to stop engaging with other people, that is when we get really in contact with the subconscious. That is when the magic really starts happening. Years ago, my first husband passed away. And after he passed away, immediately really, I took all my stuff and I moved into the middle of nowhere. And I spent the next few years in isolation. And there were times I would go weeks without talking to another human being, so, obviously work and groceries and that kind of thing. It wasn't always possible, but I didn't have friends and I kept to myself. I really didn't get to know too many people in those initial years. And I found that, I talked to myself a lot. I was much more creative. I had a lot of visions. I was living in my own atmosphere, being unburdened. It's not burdened, but unaffected by other people's energies, right? And so sometimes, we need to lean into that. Even if it's scary, even if it sounds awful, it is so necessary for the higher work. It definitely is. Okay, let's see. It looks like a little mouse. And I do believe as you go further into this kind of more solitary living, this is where you find more and more success. To be undistracted, completely immersed in your process. And I see a house here, and I do feel like you are going to end up exactly where you want to be. I think that you've had some frustrations, and there will be at least two more kind of big things that are going to come up, but they're bridges. So you'll get right over those. Okay, it might feel like this is going to be a tower moment. It's not. Okay, these things will work themselves out. But these two situations are going to be those kind of road signs for you to know I'm getting closer. I'm getting closer to that success. And that will come. Okay, let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and roll this thing. We have the number 80. Number 80 is our first lucky number. Number 52. Number 52. Number 49. All right. And then we're just going to end here with our self-care affirmation cards. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to flip through. I'm going to stop where it feels right. And it says, a worthy heart I have a voice. My needs are valuable. I express what I think and feel. I allow others to care for me. My heart is worthy of care and attention. My heart is worthy of care and attention. All right, Cancer, I want to tell you I love you because I do, and thank you for spending this time with me. It is always such an honor. If you want to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, I would love to hear from you. Other than that, we'll talk in a few days. Please wash your hands. Try to stay healthy. My goodness, this last few months has been, well, since around Thanksgiving, we've been sick on and off. We've had all the fun ones. So I had 3 weeks about of not being sick, and I felt so good, and I was so happy. And then, of course, an awful, even pneumonia is going around. I know 2 moms. I have a daughter, she's 4, and I have 2 other moms who I talk to a lot. They both had pneumonia in the last couple of weeks, and that's not a rarity. So when you have young kids, it's just all the families are sick. We're all sick. We're all getting sick. I don't know if it's always been like that or if it's like gotten worse in these recent years, but yeah. And I thank you for all of your remedies. I do write them. I screenshot them. I put them in my notes, and some of them I write down, like on my little pad of paper I have in my kitchen with all my teas and herbs and things. And I'm willing to try just about anything. So let me know in the comments if you have any kind of remedies. Now, I don't drink and can't partake in anything that is intoxicating, but yeah, if you have any remedies, let me know. But anyways, Cancer, I love you. Take care of yourself. We're going to talk in a few days. Good night.